In this video, I'm going to be talking about the 7 best fairway woods of 2019. So we're going to be talking about different ones that are good for high handicaps, beginners, as well as mid handicaps and also low handicaps as well. So we're going to go over my favorite for pretty much all skill levels. But what we basically look for whenever we're testing out all the different clubs were how they actually performed for not only me but other people as well, how the quality was, and also the price. And then we tried the best we could to find one that's a little bit cheaper, some that are kind of in the middle, and then some that are more expensive as well. So you can kind of go off whatever your budget is and whatever your needs are. Before we get started, I will just mention our gear giveaway. If you want to enter into our subscriber milestone giveaway, so every 1,000 subscribers, simply subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment giveaway down below. Do those 3 things and you'll be automatically entered. Number 7 is going to be the Mizuno ST190. And I will just mention picks 4, 5, 6, and 7. They're in really no particular order. They are all great clubs. But my 1, 2, and 3 pick, they're going to be in that specific order. So pretty much it's going to be my favorite for low handicaps, my favorite for mid handicaps, my favorite for high handicaps is going to be 1 through 3. So just keep that in mind. But number 7, Mizuno ST190. And I've never really used Mizuno clubs in the past, but was really curious to see how their new woods would perform. And I was impressed after using them for the first couple shots. The face on the club is one of the deeper ones I've seen, and they did that to basically produce as much ball speed as possible, just kind of like drivers are designed like that as well. It wasn't my favorite wood. The price did have a bit to do with that. It is fairly expensive, but it did give me a decent launch, produced less spin than some other ones out there, and the ball speed was just as high as most of the other ones, which is all you can really ask for in a low to mid handicap fairway wood. So let's cover some pros and cons. So pros, they're designed to offer more playability off the tee and fairway. The forgiveness was much better than I first expected it was, just because it wasn't designed for a high or beginner golfer. The forgiveness was actually pretty good, so I was definitely pleased to see that. And then it sounded and felt solid through impact. Cons, it's a fixed club and isn't adjustable. The price is quite high. It's not going to be the best wood for high handicaps. And then it wasn't the longest for me personally. I'm not saying it's not the longest, but just for me and my swing it wasn't. So that's just one thing to keep in mind, but those are pretty much the main pros and cons to it. But overall, if you're a low to mid handicap, it could be worth checking out. Number 6 is going to be the Wilson Staff D7. And a lot of golfers overlook Wilson products simply because not many pros out there are using them. But in my experience, they're actually a great club for high handicaps just because they are forgiving and they're generally not overly priced. The D7, it's a great wood if you have a slower swing speed and want more distance and more forgiveness off the tee. It's not the most versatile from the deck or in the fairway, but it is incredibly affordable and easy to hit. So if you're looking to be able to like draw or fade the ball, that kind of thing, it's not the best option. But if you just want to hit it long and straight off, off the tee instead of your drivers, then this could be a great option for you. Pros, it's a light club but still feels solid through impact. The price is much more reasonable than most. It gave me a high and straight ball flight. Cons, it's not adjustable. It's not going to be the best option for people with faster swing speeds. If that's you, you'll get better distance from something else. And then it's not the best if you want to draw or fade the ball. But overall, if you're tight on a budget, you have a slower swing speed, it could be a great option for you. Number 5 is going to be the Cobra F9 Speedback. And if you've been a fan of Cobra clubs in the past, then I'm pretty confident you'll see even better results with the new F9 Speedback. It wasn't the best overall option for my game personally, but I did find it to be a great club if you tend to hit the ball fat, just because I think of the bottom rails, I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. So on the bottom of the face there are 2 bottom rails that Cobra clubs have had in the past, and that really helps you with the turf interaction and not hitting the ball fat. So that was definitely a big help if, because I sometimes do hit my woods fat, and this was a great option to help that. The reason I don't have it in my top 3 is that I didn't find it to be as long or as forgiving as some of the other ones out there, but again, it could be different for you. That's just my game personally. Pros, the smash factor on this club was one of the highest. It was one of the easier woods to hit off the deck and in the rough, and the ball flight on it was high. Cons, the price is pretty high. If you're a higher handicap, you'll probably get more forgiveness for my number 2 pick. And then if you want the most distance possible, you'll probably be better off with my next pick. So let's jump over to that now. Number 4 is going to be the Callaway Epic Flash. And if you've liked the previous Epic or previous Rogue woods from Callaway, but you're going to see even better results with the new Epic Flash. It takes the distance of the Epic and the forgiveness of the Rogue, and then it combines them into one lethal weapon. So I definitely noticed that this was one of the longer clubs for my game personally. So if that's what you're looking for, then this could be something worthwhile to check out. It was probably the longest on average when it was hit flush and when it was hit solid. But I really couldn't get myself to feel comfortable swinging it for some reason. It didn't feel bad. Obviously, it's not my standard club, so pretty much most of the clubs you use for the first, for the first few times aren't going to feel comfortable. But I just couldn't really get comfortable, and my top 3 picks felt much better for me personally. Pros, it was the longest of the woods for my swing. It was just as forgiving as most. And you can get a standard, which is going to be good for kind of average players, or you can get the Sub-Zero if you want less spin, which would kind of benefit the better player as well. Cons, the ball trajectory wasn't as high as I'd like it to be. It wasn't low, it was just kind of in the middle there. It's getting up there in price. It's not as good as the F9 and some of the others out of the rough, but off the tee and off the fairway it was perfectly fine. Number 3 is going to be the Ping G400. And this has been my favorite fairway wood for a while now, just because I've been using the same driver and I'm kind of used to it. It's probably not the best for higher handicaps or beginners, but if you want to be able to control the ball or work it around, then this could definitely work for you. I didn't hit the club the longest. It definitely wasn't the longest, maybe like 7-8 yards on average, I'd say. But the accuracy of it was top notch, and it was really versatile from a bunch of different situations. So off the tee, off the fairway, in the rough, it was good for shot shaping. Pretty much a great all-around club. And that's kind of why I don't have too many bad things to say about it. Pros, it's extremely easy to launch consistently. It's the most versatile wood I've used in terms of like performance, forgiveness, and workability. And it's the perfect size to hit off the tee and also the fairway as well. So it's not too big, it's not too small, it's kind of the perfect size. Cons, there's no alignment aids on the club, so it's not going to be the best for beginners who need as much alignment aid as possible. It's not as light as some, but I actually prefer that. I know some people want like super light clubs. I prefer a little bit of weight, and this definitely has that. Number 2 is going to be the Cleveland Launcher HB. And if you're a high handicap or beginner golfer who wants the most forgiveness possible and the highest launches possible, then this is going to be the one for you. Even to this day, it's still one of my favorite clubs just because it's so easy to hit, and it almost feels like cheating in a way. I don't know if you've ever tried, but they have a driver, fairwoods, hybrids, and they also have irons, and their irons are definitely the easiest ones I've ever hit, the high launching. And this fairwood is definitely the same. Really easy to hit, and that's kind of why I like it. It's not the longest wood and it's not the most versatile, but it's the cheapest option on this list, and it gets the ball to hit the fairway more often than not, I found. Pros, it's the most affordable, it's the highest launching and straightest wood, and I like the way it looks and also feels at address, so it feels really, really comfortable. And then it still works for better players as well. Again, if you're looking to shape the ball around, it's not gonna be the best option. But even me, like I'm not a high handicap, but it is high. It's straight, and if that's all you're really looking for, it doesn't really matter what skill level you are. It's going to be a great option for that. Cons, it's not the best option out of the rough. There are no adjustment options on it, and then it doesn't feel as solid as some of the other ones. But it's fine in terms of performance as long as it performs. That's all that really matters. But my number 1 pick is going to be the TaylorMade M6, and this is my current number 1 pick because it's probably the most complete club out there that can be used by every level of golfer, so low handicap, mid handicap, high handicap, and even beginners. I haven't been the biggest fan of TaylorMade drivers over the years, or pretty much any other clubs to be honest, but they've made some big improvements with the new M5 and M6. The new M5 and M6 are much similar together compared to the M3 and M4. So before, like the M3 was kind of for your better players, the M4 was for your higher handicaps, but the new M5 and M6, they're much more similar, and the only major difference is that the M5 is adjustable, whereas the M6 isn't. So pros, this is going to be a great club for beginners and low handicap players, so you can grow into it as you get better. It's incredibly forgiving and still has good distance on it. And I was able to work the ball around, not as much as some, but you definitely could still. Cons, it's one of the more expensive woods on the market, but it is cheaper than the M5. It's not adjustable like the M5, but it's about $100 cheaper. But overall, it probably is my favorite just because of how solid it is all around. But pretty much any of these 7 options are going to be great, so it just kind of depends on your budget and what you're looking for. But if you would like to see more images, more reviews, or get any of these for the lowest price available, click the link in the description down below. At the time of making this video, that was the best place I could find it. So you can go ahead and check out the current price if you want. And if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you haven't already watched and commented on our latest video, click the video card to the left and get yourself another entry into our golf giveaway.